First, we'll start with the basics. The Taser devices use a replaceable cartridge that contains the probes, wires, and nitrogen propulsion system, allowing you to reload everything needed to fire another shot. And the Taser cartridges are reversible, so they can go in either way. One important word on cartridges: be sure you never place your fingers in front of the cartridge doors. When loading, hold the cartridge by the buttons on the sides. When unloading, do the same. Note, if you are unloading a fresh, unfired cartridge, the release buttons will be much stiffer than after the cartridge has been fired. This is because the wires inside the cartridge hold the cartridge release tabs firmly in place, which helps keep the cartridge locked firmly in place through the firing process. If you have any difficulty in removing the cartridge by simply pressing on the buttons with one hand, try using this two-handed technique. While making sure the safety is in the unarmed position, hold the unit with the cartridge facing in a safe direction. Then, using two hands, press with both thumbs on either side of the release buttons to remove the cartridge. Taser devices also have a powerful backup defense system. If the probes miss the target, they can be used in contact stun mode by touching the front of the device to the intended target and discharging the electric impulses into them. Because the front of the Taser device has live electrodes for this contact stun feature, it is important that you keep your fingers away from the front of the device at all times, whenever the Taser is armed. The Taser systems are not classified as a firearm and can be carried in over 40 states without special permit. Check your state and local laws for details. Even though the Taser devices are designed as safer personal defense alternatives, they are powerful weapons and must be handled cautiously and with respect. For safety purposes, handle the Taser device as you would handle a firearm and follow these basic safety guidelines. Never point the Taser device at anything you don't intend to shoot. Do not power up the Taser device until pointed in a safe direction. This would typically be towards the intended legally justifiable target. Never place your finger in the trigger unless lawful firing is imminent. Do not shine the laser sight into anyone's eyes, including animals. Laser light can cause eye damage if directed into eyes for prolonged periods of time. Avoid aiming the Taser device toward anyone's eyes or face. Probe shot into the eyes can cause serious injuries. Never place your hand in front of the Taser cartridge or cartridge bay, especially when changing the cartridge. The Taser X26C consists of two main systems: the Taser device that contains all the electrical and power components necessary to operate the Taser, and the Taser cartridge that contains the compressed nitrogen, probes, and wires. Let's look at the different components of these two systems. The digital power magazine, or DPM, containing two 3-volt photocells, the DPM release button, the enhanced grip zones, the safety switch, the trigger, the central information display, or CID, the low-intensity lights, the laser sight, the illumination selector switch, the fixed sights, the Taser cartridge, the blast doors, the Taser cartridge release buttons, and the serial number plate. Let's first take a more detailed look at the Taser device. The digital power magazine, or DPM, is a power source for the Taser X26C. It has a 10-year shelf life. It contains two 3-volt photolithium energy cells. The DPM can operate the Taser X26C for over 25 minutes of continuous firing, or over 50 firing to the full 30-second discharge cycle. The DPM has an onboard memory chip that stores how much energy is remaining in the DPM. This is displayed on the CID. When you arm the Taser device, the CID shows you the percentage of battery life remaining in the DPM. Power down the X26C by placing the safety switch in the down, safe position. Remove the Taser cartridge if there is one in place. Always make sure your Taser device is not loaded with the cartridge before changing the DPM. Depress the DPM release button. Remove the DPM and immediately replace it with a new DPM. Do not leave your Taser X26C without a DPM for more than 24 hours, as the system will power down the main clock system, which is not good for the unit. At this point, we are going to get ready to activate your X26C. Once your Taser X26C is activated, it can emit electrical current discharge Taser pulses when the trigger is touched. These pulses can fire a cartridge if one is loaded. Hence, we want to make sure you have unloaded your X26C before attempting activation. Verify that your X26C is unloaded and that the cartridge bay in the front of the device is empty. The electrical pulses emitted from the Taser X26C not only fire the cartridges, but they can deliver an electrical stun to anyone who comes in contact with the front of the Taser X26C. As a matter of safe practice, make sure you keep your fingers and any other body parts away from the front of the Taser X26C anytime the safety switch is in the up armed position. You can tell that your Taser X26C has not yet been activated because the CID will display double bars continuously when the unit is locked. Now we will activate your Taser X26C. First, you should locate the serial number on your Taser X26C. The serial number is located on the engraved metal plate on the top of your device. You will need this serial number to complete your background check and receive the activation code. In addition to the serial number of your Taser device, you will need your Social Security number and will need to provide the last 4 digits along with your full name for identification purposes. Go online to taser.com to complete your background check. If you cannot get online, you can call this toll-free number. We recommend using the online activation as it includes step-by-step instructions. Please pause this video while you complete the background check. Hit the play button when you have received your activation code and are ready to continue. Before entering the activation code, check again to make sure your unit is unloaded. Keep the front of your Taser device away from your fingers and body parts at all times. To enter the activation code, you will flip up the safety switch. Click the illumination selector, the yellow switch on top of the unit, the number of times represented by the first digit in your code. As you click the selector switch, the CID will increment up 1 digit. When the proper digit is displayed, flip the safety switch down to register the number. Then, flip the safety switch back up to enter the second number, and click to select the number of times represented by the second digit. Flip down the safety switch to register the second digit, and continue until you have entered your entire code. For example, if your code is 123, you will start by flipping up the safety switch. You would click the selector button once, then flip down the safety switch to enter the number 1. You would flip up the safety switch, click the selector button twice, then flip down the safety switch to register the number 2. Then flip up the safety switch and click the selector 3 times to enter the number 3. If at any time you click the selector switch more than 9 times, the unit will go back to 1 and start incrementing again. If you enter the wrong code, the CID will flash. If at any point you have made a mistake and need to start over, you may hold the selector switch down for 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, the CID will display double bars and you may now start over. Alternatively, you may simply set the unit down and wait more than 60 seconds. After 60 seconds, the CID will display double bars, showing the unit has returned to the locked mode, and you may start again. Once you have successfully entered the activation code, the CID will show a P for approximately 30 seconds. This P means the unit is programming for activation. Do not touch any switches or remove the DPM while the P is on screen, as you could corrupt the unit, which will require factory service to repair. Wait patiently until the P disappears. At that point, the unit will boot up, showing a sequence of numbers. The safety switch controls the power to the X26C. The Taser X26C is powered down by placing the safety switch in the down position. The X26C is powered up by placing the safety switch in the up position. Powering up the X26C activates the laser and lights depending on the illumination settings selected. The default mode is to illuminate both the light and laser when the safety is in the arm position. When the safety is in the down safe position, press and hold the illumination selector switch for about 2 seconds until the CID display lights up. You can then click the selector to toggle through the 4 available modes. LL is laser and light. LO is laser only. OL is only light. and OO is a stealth mode. No illumination will be used when the unit is armed in this mode. Select the illumination mode you prefer. Now let's take a look at the Taser cartridge system. The Taser cartridge contains cartridge release buttons, blast doors, 2 electrodes, a primer charge, a non-flammable nitrogen capsule, 2 probes, 2 15-foot Taser wires, and aphid tags. When the X26C is powered up and the trigger is depressed, the primer charge forces the nitrogen capsule onto a puncture pin that releases the compressed nitrogen, which then propels the 2 probes out at approximately 160 feet per second. The probes knock the blast doors off as they leave the cartridge. The probes are connected to the Taser by the 2 15-foot wires that are used to conduct the Taser pulses to the target. The wires are steel with insulated coating. The wires can break easily if stepped on or pulled. Inadvertent contact with wires or the probes during discharge can result in a shock if you break the wires. You must avoid the wires while escaping so you don't disconnect the assailant from the X26C. The X26C will automatically activate a 10-second cycle when it is powered up and the trigger is depressed. The cycle can be stopped at any time by putting the safety switch in the down position and powering down the X26C. Now, take your Taser X26C and practice using the trigger and safety. Make sure your Taser X26C is unloaded. Point it in a safe direction and don't point it towards anyone's face or eyes. And make sure your fingers are away from the front. Now, power it up and pull the trigger. Note that the CID will display how much time is remaining in the cycle, counting down from 10. After a second or two, put the safety switch in the down position to shut it off. As you will see later in the video, you have the option of leaving the Taser X26C attached to an assailant so it can continue to incapacitate him while you get to safety. In order to do this, you can extend the duration of the discharge cycle all the way up to 30 seconds. To do this, each time you pull the trigger, it will add 10 seconds to the remaining time as displayed on the CID. So, to deliver a 30-second pulse, pull the trigger 3 times consecutively. The top probe will come out straight and will impact the target within a few inches of the laser. The probes will only travel up to 15 feet. The bottom probe comes out at an 8-degree downward angle. It is important to keep the Taser device vertical so the bottom probe doesn't miss the target. The rule of thumb for probe spread is 1 foot of spread for every 7 feet of travel. Both probes must contact the target to be effective. However, if one probe misses, you can still make contact with the front of the Taser device to complete the circuit and repel an assailant. When a Taser cartridge is fired, it disperses 20 to 30 identification tags called aphids. These tags are printed with the serial number of the cartridge and can be used to determine who purchased the cartridge. This makes Taser personal protection devices the only easily traceable weapons in existence. If a Taser device is ever used in a criminal act, Taser International can provide law enforcement with the name of the person who purchased the cartridge. Taser International will release this information to law enforcement agencies conducting an investigation.